Hello, everyone, and welcome back to True Self. So far in this series, we have now talked about forgiveness, gratitude, self love, and self concept. And in today's video, I would like to talk about the law itself. We're going to deep dive into the law, understand what it is, and how faith plays like an important role in all of this. So, if you've been in the manifestation community and read about Neville Goddard, the law of assumption, law of attraction, Joseph Murphy, you have some idea what the law is. But let's try to really understand how all of this works so that you can better use this to your advantage. So the basic premise to all of this is that your consciousness or the awareness creates the imagination. You can call it whatever you want. You can call it your higher self, your God, God power, God, universe, whatever you call it. There's this power inside you, this power for you, given to you, that helps you create. And this, so I like to call it as my awareness, consciousness, higher self. And this power is not something outside of you. It is not separate from you. This power is you. And whatever you imagine or assume to be true for yourself is created for you to experience in the 3D or in the outside world. So whatever inner experience you have, and that is kind of projected or reflected outside as an outer experience for you to kind of experience that. So when I say imagination is not the only way you are using this power. So an imaginal activity is anything that happens in your inner world. So for example, imagination, literally, when you imagine and assume that to be true for yourself, it will eventually get reflected outside in the 3D. The same goes for the things you say, the words you speak. Whatever you speak, whatever you say, it also causes an imaginal activity in your mind, in your awareness, even though, because the mind sees everything or kind of understands everything in pictures. And so even if you are saying something, the mind interprets it in pictures or in imaginal scenes. So the words you speak, the words you say, the things you talk about, the things you imagine, the things you speak out aloud and quietly in your mind, the things you write, whatever you are doing, it's happening also at the same time in your awareness or in your consciousness. And this is then, when you assume that to be true, is going to be projected outside of you for you to experience. So now we know that your imagination creates whatever you assume to be true for yourself is being created constantly, continuously. And this power or this creation is happening all the time. This power, the law, kind of says yes to everything you assume or you imagine or you believe to be true. It doesn't sit and judge whether what you imagined is good for you or bad for you. It doesn't judge any of that. So you have to just think of it like this. Whatever you imagine, let's say you imagine today's a good day. The law, you have to imagine or think like somebody's sitting and saying yes to you. This power is saying yes to you. So if you just imagine or think in your mind, today's going to be a good day. And the law is like, yeah, today is going to be a good day. And then as long as you keep believing in that, you are going to have experiences that prove your assumption to be true. You're gonna keep getting experiences that is in line with what you assumed. So the law is always proving your assumptions true. So and it's the same with any thoughts, any imaginal activity you have. Let's say you suddenly think about some suddenly think about your job for Monday, and you're thinking, oh, the job is so stressful. I have so much work to do, and yeah, I have to go to the office. I don't like it, and you're creating an imaginal activity, and your mind is saying, yeah, your mind means your awareness, your consciousness, this power is saying, yeah, your work is hard, your work is stressful, you don't like it, yeah, so I'm gonna give you more experiences to prove that to be true. So yeah, basically the law keeps saying yes to everything you have imagined, you're imagining, you're being, the identity you're choosing, the law is saying yes to that without any question. It doesn't question or judge you. And that's why we say that anything is possible, because the moment you think about it, the law is starting to work, the law is working to create it, because it already exists. All the infinite realities existing, and if you can imagine or think about something, that means it already exists. Yeah, so we covered what yeah, our imagination creates, our consciousness creates, um, and the law, the power is always saying yes to you. And this power is not something that's separate from you. And this is why anything is possible for us. And this is the reason why we say circumstances don't matter. Because let's say we take the same example about the job. Instead of saying the job is stressful, you can, even though it's stressful, you can say that, no, I have like an easy job. My colleagues are really good and my work is easy. And the law goes, yeah, your work is easy. It's your colleagues are nice and you have a good time at the office, and the law says yes to you. And then the law creates experiences to prove that, prove what is said to be true. And the trick here is to remain in this new identity. We can't keep going back and forth between these identity or states. So, what happens when you keep going back and forth between different identities or states? So, let's take another example. And yeah, let's maybe talk about NSP. So, let's say you're waiting for them to text you. So if you have an assumption that, he or she texts me all the time, and the law goes, yeah, that's true. He or she is texting you all the time, and then the law will, or they will start behaving in a manner that proves your experience to be true. But let's say you have imagined, or you're telling yourself, yeah, they text you all the time. But then you're waiting, like, or you're waiting for like an hour, a couple of hours, half a day, and then they haven't texted you. And then, so in between all this fear, worry, doubt, all of this creeps in. And then in between, you're like, okay, no, this doesn't work. Or no, they don't care about me, or they might be busy. And yeah, I'm not a priority, or something. You start shifting into different states. The moment you think about something, the moment you think about them in a different way, you're shifting into that state where that person is like that. And the law, without question, is going to say yes to that as well. So when you think negatively about them or the situation, the law is like, yeah, you're right. they are busy and they don't care about you, they're not gonna text you, whatever you say to yourself. So the trick is to not kind of be in denial about the circumstance. So even if they are not texting you, you just have to remain faithful to your imagined or imaginal scene or your state. You have to keep assuming the best of them. You have to see them in the best version, the version that prioritizes you, texts you all the time. And instead of assuming something you don't want to experience, you have to stay, even if the doubt or worry and anxiety comes in, you can acknowledge them, but you don't have to engage with them. You can acknowledge that this fear or anxiety is coming up because you are not that fear or anxiety. You are the awareness that's observing them. You are the awareness behind all of this. So that's not your identity. You can observe it. You can acknowledge that. You can acknowledge that you haven't received a text, but that's still okay because you know how the law works. The law, you imagined or you see them, you still see them as someone who texts you or talks to you all the time, who prioritizes you, who cherishes you, and you keep staying there without assuming something opposite. And the longer you keep returning back to that assumed state, the imaginal state, yeah, the law will say yes to that as well, and then it'll eventually show up in your 3D for you to experience. So just think of it like this. The law is always saying yes to whatever you imagine. So if you imagine that they are always texting you, the law says, yeah, they are always texting you, and I'm going to give you those experiences. But the next moment you say, and no, they don't like me, they don't love me, they don't care about me. The law will say yes to that as well and give you experiences that'll prove your assumptions to be true. So that's a simple way to keep a check of what you're thinking. So it's quite possible that these doubts and worries and fear, all of this are quite repetitive and hard to ignore sometimes because believe me, yes, I've experienced all of that as well. Um, you're constantly overthinking, you're constantly analyzing their every move, constantly analyzing the situation and thinking, how can this work? How is this possible? Um, all of that. And the more you question the law, the more you kind of think like, okay, how is this gonna work? Yeah, the law is gonna say yes to that as well. So that is why you need to have faith in the law. There's another aspect of the law, which is people talk a lot about inspired action. Inspired action is not something that you do consciously. So when you occupy a particular state, you and everyone that needs to make your state come true will move in ways that will bring your assumption into effect. So you don't have to do anything external in your 3D, in your outside world. You don't have to do anything to force that outcome. It doesn't mean, like, for example, you're studying for an exam and you're imagining passing with A plus or something for all your subjects. So only thing you have to do is in your imagination or in your awareness, experience that. Just experience that, and as long as it becomes natural to you. So the things you imagine and experience, you does have to feel natural, or you have to feel a bit, not a bit, like you need to know that that's possible for you and get into a state of calmness surrounding that, a naturalness surrounding that. And that's all you need to do. And you will be moved. You will be moved, and people in the external things that needs to happen will happen. Um, so just do the things that feel natural to you. So you're imagining that you're passing the exam, but you then decide, okay, I don't need to do anything. I don't need to study. Yeah, I mean, if you truly believe that you will pass that exam or pass the exams without studying, yeah, sure, you will pass those exams. But how confident are you in that assumption? Because we have some already like really ingrained assumptions in ourselves from how we have experienced the world. We know that, we have to put in some level of effort to pass the exams. We need to study and things like that. We have that assumption, which is quite stronger or strongly ingrained in you than the new assumption you're trying to create. That is that, yeah, I imagined and I don't need to study. But if you build the faith in the law to a degree, then you have so much confidence in the law and in yourself, then yeah, you won't need to study, but you need to get there. So nothing is impossible in that regard, but you need to get to that state where you're so confident and your complete faith and belief in the law that you know that you can imagine and that will be true. And the same goes for time and time delay. So everything is just happening now. There is no past and no future because everything that happened in the past, you're playing in your mind now. It's in your awareness now. It's just a memory or it's an imaginal experience that's happening now. And the same thing. So whatever you're imagining in the future, it's you're imagining it now. So there is no real past or future, and it's only happening now. And that's why circumstances don't matter because you can change those circumstances in your imagination or in your awareness because there is only now, and then you can choose a new state. There are infinite states, and you can choose to enter this new state now and keep faithful to that state, and it will harden into fact in the 3D for you to experience. So now we have a basic understanding of the law, how it works. Um, yeah, why we say that imagination creates and that the law always says yes to you, how it works behind the scenes. So we have an understanding of the law, but our logical mind needs proof, and we keep searching for proof. We wait for proof to see something before we can trust the process and trust in this. So that's where we kind of fall into this trap of endless learning and trying to understand the law, keep reading books about the law, watch videos, read articles, and trying to gain more understanding and also somehow to gain faith by reading success stories and reading other people's experiences, learning about other people's experiences, what they did, how they manifested, and the techniques they used, how long did it take for them. So we are trying to satisfy our logical mind and trying to gain faith by gaining proof from the outside world. So when you're doing that, you're again putting your power outside of you. So the basics of the law is that there is nothing outside of you. The power, you are the operant power, and everything that you're experiencing is just something you have imagined. So all the doubt about the law, the questioning about the law keeps you in the state of not experiencing the law the way you want, which it creates more questioning and more doubt. and then you stay in the state of continuous learning and continuous searching for answers, understanding, and trying to understand how it worked for somebody else. So you're constantly staying in that state of searching and seeking. So this is where you need to have faith in the law. I mean, learning and understanding the law is important, but this is actually all there is to know about the law. There is nothing more to kind of know about it or learn about it. And you don't need to really satisfy your logical mind. You just need to understand that this is how it works. And you need to now have faith in it and start practicing it. You can't wait till you satisfy your logical mind. You can't wait till you get proof to believe in it. So this is where faith comes into play. Faith is basically the belief that something is true before you have proof of that. So you know how the law works. So you need to have faith in that. You need to have faith in yourself as the operant power, as the higher power. You need to have faith in yourself that you can do this, that this is possible for you. This is how it works, and this is how it has always worked. And now you're consciously trying to do that. And when you start manifesting consciously, because all this time you have been unconsciously manifesting all the experiences you've been having. And now when you start manifesting consciously, of course, it's natural for all this doubt and fear and anxiety and questioning to come in. But the more you practice, the more you the more you kind of test the law. You should definitely test the law. You should practice it. The more you practice it and stay faithful to your desires, you will start getting experiences that conform to your state that you're occupying. Sometimes it might be bad experiences. For example, like you're worrying about something going wrong, or some fear that you had, and then that kind of manifests. That's also proof that the law is working. And it's true for the positive things as well. So you can consciously try to manifest certain things. Like you can either start small or you can start big. Some really big desire you have, you can start with that as well. There is no limitations. You can do whatever you want to do because there is nothing wrong. Whatever desire that comes to you, it's justified and you deserve it and you're worthy of it. No desire comes to you that is unworthy or that's not meant for you. Have faith in the law. Continue even when you don't see movement, but don't acknowledge that. Even when you don't see any movement, don't pay any attention to that. Just return to your internal state where you have your desire and remain calm and be patient when you see maybe the opposite happening or things like that. Just return to your state of fulfillment. So you can test the law with small things like thinking of someone to call or text, to find a parking space, or receiving like small amounts of money. Or you can go big, and it doesn't matter small or big. And there might be some resistance, and resistance just means like opposing thoughts or negative beliefs that you have. You just have to work through them. And working through them means the degree to which you can stay faithful to your imagined scene. So let's say you're manifesting like 100 euros or something, and you never received 100 euros just like that. So initially you might have some you start imagining and your mind goes like, yeah, but you never received 100 euros. Where will you receive 100 euros from? And things like that. It will bring up logical traps that kind of opposes what you're imagining. And you can just either, you can definitely acknowledge it. You should not kind of ignore or try to suppress that, because that will just create more resistance. You can acknowledge it by saying, yeah, I see I see this, but it doesn't matter because everything works out for me. And you can use the Sedona method, like I mentioned before, to kind of let go of that resistance and bring in the version of you that has like the 100 euros. And I might make a separate video about how to use that. And you can use your own method to kind of deal with resistance. Sometimes just doing sats and practicing affirmations are enough. And for small things like this, I find you don't have to do like Sedona method or EFT tapping, but if it works for you, you can. And just imagining it whenever you feel like, and just affirming for it whenever you feel like is sufficient. But let's say you're someone who has a lot of struggle with money, and then, yeah, for different people, different topics could be a pain point, and maybe for you money is a pain point, and for somebody else maybe it's love and relationships, and for somebody else it could be, I don't know, a job, something like that. So for different people, it's some topics are easier, some topics are harder, and in the end you just need to know that everything is possible for you. And and you should definitely stick with things that you find harder. It just means once you kind of tackle all those opposing thoughts and negative assumptions and beliefs that is ingrained in you, you will come out much stronger because you will have so much proof that the law works. Once you kind of tackle those and manifested it, you'll have so much faith and experience and confidence in yourself and the law that most other topics will seem so easy for you. So yeah, so practice the law and have faith in the law. Only way to measure or check if it's working, check if your techniques are working, or yeah, whatever you're doing is working, is not to look for signs outside in the 3D. It doesn't matter what happens outside because everything that happens outside first happens within you. So there is no point in looking outside. So if something is going good, it just means it just proves that what you imagined is coming into fruition. But you shouldn't take that as a sign, because when you are taking the outside as validation, you're again giving power to that. So don't wait. So the only way you should measure or check if what you're doing is working is to see or check your internal state. See how it is changing day to day, or see how your internal state is feeling or is moving, is changing. Are you feeling better? Like you're imagining receiving 100 euros. How are you feeling today? How are you feeling the next day? Are you feeling more confident? How are you feeling that, yeah, this is possible to me? Or are you feeling more nervous or more anxious or more worry or something like that? Or that you feel like, yeah, no, I need to do more techniques, or I need to understand the law more. How are you feeling inside? And that's the only thing you need to check or measure, your internal state. And if your internal state is getting better, or even if it's not getting better, don't go outside. Just focus, keep doing, keep practicing, and just see on a day-to-day basis, or from even on a weekly basis, or you don't have to see every day. And yeah, don't put too much pressure on yourself. Just see your internal state. How is it changing? Has it changed over time? Once you started doing, or once you started consciously manifesting, has your internal state changed, or is it different, or is it same? Yeah, just if you want to check that, measure your internal state and nothing else. And yeah, if you feel like yeah, you're still in that same state, then you can ask your higher self for guidance. Like I do this myself, and I found it quite useful in the sense that your higher self, this power that's within you, is all knowing and it's all powerful. It's already complete. It's whole, and it's everything all at once. It's everything is already possible to that power, and he knows everything. So you can ask your higher self for guidance, for clarity. You can ask this power for to guide you, to help you receive, to achieve your goals, to achieve your desires, to guide you in the right direction, to give you clarity and to help you, to support you. Because in the end, the goal of this power or this higher self in you is for you to achieve your goals, to achieve your desire. That's his purpose. It's a gift to you. It's just saying that, hey, look, there is a version of you that has this, and that this is possible for you. This is available to you. Just accept it. And just bring that version of you into your awareness because you already have it. That option is there. It's available for you. Just accept it and live in that state, and it is yours. Your higher self is guiding you into better versions of you for your growth, for fulfilling its own purpose. So you getting your desires, you manifesting your desires in 3D for you to experience is your higher self's purpose. It's what your higher self wants for you. So it's always working in your favor. So, keeping this in mind, you can ask your higher self for guidance and clarity. And whenever I did this, I'm led to kind of ideas or experiences or thoughts that kind of give me better clarity, give me guidance. Maybe I see some new video or I find some article that suddenly, which I might have seen like 1,000 times before, or I might have read or understood the concept 1,000 times before, but then suddenly it reveals something, a deeper level of understanding to me. So you can keep asking at every step, every way, wherever you find difficulty in your life, you can ask your higher self for guidance, clarity, strength, patience, etc. And it will all be given to you because that's his purpose, that's his goal to you, for you to succeed. Yeah, so that's, I think, kind of wraps it up about the law. And now I would like to kind of give you a few quotes from Neville and the Bible to kind of motivate you. So let's start with some Neville quotes. So Neville says, assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Um, so yeah, this I think is the core of his teachings. Your assumptions, the more you feel that to be true, uh, more you stay in the state of the wish fulfill, it'll harden into fact. Another quote from Neville goes like this: dare to believe in the reality of your assumption and watch the world play its part relative to its fulfillment. And faith is loyalty to the unseen reality. This is one of his, I think, popular quotes. Then, an assumption, though false, if persisted in, will harden into fact. Another one of his popular quotes. Yeah, and we will talk more about persistence and desire, yeah, as I mentioned in the next video. Yeah, and here are some Bible verses that I find quite, yeah, which I go back to whenever I need a dose of faith. So Hebrews 11:1 goes, yeah, now faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the convictions of things not seen. So basically, you have to remain in faith. You don't have to be delusional about the circumstances. You don't have to ignore your circumstances. You can acknowledge it, but being in faith just means even though it seems that things are going bad. It seems like things are just breaking apart. I know what I imagined, and I will remain faithful to that. And I know what I imagine will harden into fact, and it'll show up in my 3D, and that is faith. So, yeah, don't be delusional in the sense of not accepting or acknowledging or doing things in the 3D. That just remain faithful. Keep doing, even though things don't seem like it's working. Keep doing the things, but in your in your awareness, in your inner state, you're just returning to that state of the wish fulfilled. Then Mark chapter 11, verse 24 says, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it and it will be yours. So again, it's this power. It's a promise that your higher self is making to you. If you ask something of it, of this power, it's already granted to you, and you just have to believe that you received it. You have to remain faithful to it, and it is yours. And in Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. So basically, it's telling you you don't need to kind of logically understand every aspect of the law. It's okay even if you don't exactly know how all of this works. You just need to know that this power is available to you. This power is there, it's part of you, you can use it, and it's always saying yes to you. So just use that power, accept the desires that comes to you, accept it, remain faithful to it, and then you can experience it. And then a very famous Bible quote, Matthew chapter 17, verse 20. If you have faith as small as a mustard seed, nothing will be impossible for you. So yeah, again, it mentions of how important faith is in all of this, how faith plays a very important role. Even if you have all the doubts, the worry, anxiety, and all of that stuff that comes in, if you have faith in yourself that this is possible to you in this power, then it will be done for you. There's nothing impossible for you. So yeah, that's it for this video. If you're enjoying my content, I would really appreciate it if you like and subscribe to my videos and support my channel. And I will see you in our next video. In the meantime, stay connected to your true self.